Okay.
Did it already start? Oh, I should probably keep my mask on for safety purposes. Also, I kind of
Same.
Yeah, single to be here.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. You're the one who's lying to yourself. You don't want to accept the truth. Deep down, you know, Sonic, once all this is done, Sonic will be gone and you'll have to go back to the way things were. Your days of adventure at an end, kid. Just like your friendship with that hyper-annoying hedgehog. Life is like that, huh? Whenever things are going your way, it smacks you right down. But on the bright side, at least you and I won't ever have to see each other again. If you watch Sonic X, I'm sure you know where that came from.
Ahoo! Get ready for a nostalgia trip tonight.
Yes, definitely.
You're in for a wild ride for 4 kids.
Yep.
We got 3 minutes until showtime.
3 minutes till showtime, yep.
Alex,
I
is recording.
was just messing you up. Cool, are you
Oh,
recording me, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, that's great. This will work out perfectly. Yeah, you can upload the video to your YouTube, to YouTube or Twitch or whatever is most convenient for you.
Oh, yeah, streaming device.
I'm excited and a little nervous. This is the first panel that I've done that I've ever actually built the bulk of.
You got this, bud.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort on this
I
panel.
just need to believe in the heart of the panel. You guys set me up for that. Alright, so once the clock strikes 10:45, that's when we'll start. And it's 10:42. 3 more minutes. There's plenty of seats open. I just want to make sure everybody's there, so that's why I'm starting on the dot. The fans of panel I was just in a little while ago did the exact same thing. It's just polite.
Is this anybody's first Otakon? Raise your hand.
Whoa,
Interesting.
a lot of people. How many of you have been longer to go to Otakon? Wow.
How many of you were going there back when it was in the Baltimore Convention Center? Actually, I started when I went to DC. Combination of proximity and also me having a job that I could afford rooms with. So while I was in Baltimore, I live in Northern Virginia, and while I was in Baltimore, I worked retail.
I live in Silver Spring, so I used to go to Otakon back in 2007. Back in my high school days.
2018 was my first Otakon. I live like all the way from Walden, New Jersey. It's like 5-hour journey ride to riding a bus. It's me, you get crazy on traveling, huh?
Thanks. I'm only taking my mask out for water purposes. I said that a lot of people with these masks help to suppress it. With this amplifying it, I say. Sure. Yeah, one more minute, yeah. As I said, yeah, if I talk without a mask on for too long, if everyone's going to run out of the room screaming at us with their ears, so they should make their hands on their ears. So, all the easy things. It's showtime. Go! Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a good Otakon, and thank you for coming to the first panel I ever built by hand, the Unbiased History of 4 Kids Entertainment, Rumors Debunked. Now, before we start, this panel is going to cover 4 Kids Entertainment as a company, their entire history, and their rise and fall. There will be no bias toward any anime dub or any edit to any anime dub unless it's had a major effect on someone involved. So if you came here to hear another big long rant about the Shadow Realm or Hellbent pointing a big hammer at Kobe's head, I am advising you to please leave the panel right now. Now, One Piece is a bridge we will cross when we get to it. I will talk about it, but not about its ends. Okay, so we start. In 1970, 4 Kids Entertainment began as Leisure Concepts Incorporated. It didn't really work that much with television, except for productions of some classic shows like Thundercats, and it was mostly licensing properties such as 007, Marvel, and Nintendo. Then, in 1980s, when Alfred R. Kahn and Norman J. Grossfeld joined, the company was renamed as 4Kids Entertainment in the 90s. And the first show it produced was, wait for it, WMAC Masters in 1995. Were you expecting me to say Pokemon? Because no, it was actually WMAC Masters. This show aired in local syndication and later aired in reruns on the Fox box. But this was the first show they ever produced. It was, I didn't see much of it. It was some martial arts type show. But anyway, in 1998, now we're getting to Pokemon. 4Kids had sort of labeled themselves as risk takers at this point, because at this point, Pokemon was known for that episode that caused all those seizures in Japan. If you've ever watched The Simpsons or South Park, you probably know what I'm talking about. Isn't this the cartoon that causes seizures? Anyway, so now Pokemon had actually made them very, very filthy rich. And then in 2001, it allowed them to acquire 2 new anime titles, Tama and Friends, which I'm sure many of you probably don't even remember, Cubic's Robots for Everyone, which was a co-production, probably should listen to this first rumor. It is a co-production between 4Kids Entertainment and the Korean company Cinepix in Taiwan. So yeah, it is not specifically a dub, it's a co-production. And of course, the very big one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Those all aired on the Kids WD network was Pokemon, and lightning pretty much struck twice with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, which basically catapulted 4Kids into the children's entertainment juggernaut that they were throughout most of the 2000s. And as if that weren't enough, come 2002, Fox Kids was on risk of going under due to Saban selling most of its assets, such as Power Rangers and Digimon, to Disney, and so they held a bidding for their block, and 4Kids won the rights to the Fox Kids block, and that's how we got the Fox Box. Take a look inside Fox Box. Yes, I just said that for nostalgia purposes. Now, our first rumor, one of the shows that was on the Fox Box is Ultra Antigua. There's a rumor that 4Kids only acquired it just to explain a joke in Kirby Right Back at Ya. I remember, Tuff was watching something called Ultra D. And you can already, and just hearing some of your laughter, I can tell you already know this is a really ridiculous rumor, and busted. Now, I'll be posting some links to the sources in the panel event on Facebook. But anyway, apparently 4Kids wanted something that was more akin to Power Rangers. Also, Subaraya, the license holders for Ultraman, they were shopping around and they licensed Tiga to 4Kids because 4Kids was willing to just dub it straight instead of recasting it like Deacon Saban would and had done with Power Rangers and Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. So, yeah. Alongside, they also had Ultimate Muscle and as I said, Kirby Right Back at Ya and Fighting Foodons, all of which were dubbed from Japan, and Stargate Infinity. They licensed that show from Deke just because it needed something educational. Fox forced them to air a half-hour of EI programming. Okay, this is actually an old version of the now, but anyway. So, in 2003, 4Kids had the new season of the Fox Box started. They had already acquired the Cramp Twins from Cartoon Network UK, and also some French show called Funky Cops, I'm sure no one's ever heard of, and Sonic X, which is one thing that's lasted on the block for God knows how long, and God knows how many times they ran through this show. But I'm sure lots are smart. And of course, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series that aired early in February 2003. Midway through 2004, they wanted to target girls too, so they had actually licensed Winx Club from Rainbow, and Magical Doremi was coming in very soon. They announced that license in 2003, which is going to lead us into the upcoming elephant in the room per se, alongside F-Zero GT Legend, because Nintendo had been working with them when they acquired Pokemon, and that's why they had licensed Kirby to them. But now here we come. Rumor number 2, One Piece. I'm sure that's what a lot of you think of when you think of 4Kids. So the rumor is that 4Kids had only acquired One Piece due to its art style and Japan popularity, and not even really caring about anything else, and just blindly picking it based on all that. Myth? Ha! Busted. It's true that they didn't do much research on One Piece before before viewing it, but licensing it entirely wasn't exactly their idea. Toei Animation is the one to blame for 4Kids licensing One Piece. Now, 4Kids didn't make the choice themselves. Thing is, when they had actually co-produced a second season of Ultimate Muscle and wanted Magical Doremi, Toei literally begged them to take One Piece as a license. The reason they did this is because they wanted to get One Piece on TV as quickly as possible. 4Kids controlling an entire block on broadcast networks made them a good fit, or at least seemed like a good fit, because Funimation had already been in the bidding too, but one, Funimation's only owned programming was Funimation Channel, which a lot of people didn't even get. Even my grandparents didn't get that, and they got Nicktoons and what was then called Toon Disney. And also, Funimation had sort of sped ahead and done a test dub with Eric Vale voicing Luffy, and one of Toei's rules is that a woman must voice Luffy in any dub of One Piece. It must, no matter what else they allowed, a woman must voice Luffy. I know it sounds a little ridiculous given what they let 4Kids get away with, but that was just one of Toei's concrete rules. A woman must voice Luffy, and Funimation broke that rule early. So anyway, when 4Kids did watch it and they realized that this is not going to work for them, they kind of screwed it up on purpose. They intentionally made the dub bad, but Toei again approved of every single edit that was done to One Piece. This was just because they were really just trying to get out of that license as soon as possible, so they wouldn't have to touch it anymore. All right. Now, in 2005, they debuted a new show, Mew Mew Power, the English dub of Tokyo Mew Mew. Now, this one was already disproved in the same panel that was already approved. Again, why would Studio Pierrot say that they hate the dub if they had to approve of all the edits too? Subaraya did the same thing with Ultimate Antigua, as we already saw. All of their edits, whenever they did anything, was always already approved by the company itself. So, Hike Yagami, one of the most prolific Tokyo Mew Mew YouTubers, had mentioned that they just simply could not get a toy deal, and that's why it got canceled. 4Kids had promised them a toy deal, and then it fell through. That's why they couldn't get the second half. Oh, and here's rumor number 4. Around 2005, when Shadow the Hedgehog for GameCube and I think Xbox 360 came out, the voice cast was replaced. A lot of people think it was because of Dean Bristow, the voice of Eggman in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and Sonic Heroes, passing away, and that Sega of America had contacted Mike Pollock asking him, the voice of Eggman in Sonic X, to take over, and then the whole cast was replaced. Also not true. It said on the Sonic News Network and other Sonic sites that the recasting happened long before Dean Bristow had passed away. And Ryan Drummond, the voice of Sonic in those games, he harbors no ill will toward Jason Griffiths, but the only reason he was ever upset is because they did this without ever confronting him. And also, it was a decision of Sega of Japan, not America. Let's see. Now, around 2004, 4Kids had started listening to fan backlash and had released a couple uncut DVDs of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Shaman King. These scripts were actually much closer to the original, and there were no paint edits, with the only exception being they kept some of the American names like Joey and Kay and Tristan, and also for some reason cut the previews, but these actually were very well and got 4Kids back into a lot of fans' good graces. But it also starts another rumor that the DVDs were canceled because of an issue with Funimation, who was distributing them. That's not true either. Funimation was still distributing the edited version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And even, shockingly, Ninja Turtles and Winx Club, despite those not even being anime. They were canceled due to licensing issues with Shunsuke Kazama, Yugi's Japanese voice actor. Granted, 4Kids did split with Funimation, but that was like later on, back in 2000, not later in 2009. The DVDs had already been canceled long before that. Okay, and now rumor might be much more likely. The last bit of Winx Club didn't get DVD when they lost the license to Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon did take the license in 2010, but this was a year before it happened, and the Funimation split caused that. Now, one thing that was on my newer version, which somehow got mixed up with this, now there's one other rumor that when in 2006, when 4Kids lost the rights, rumor number 6. The amount that they put into One Piece is what nearly pushed them into bankruptcy, which is also not true. There's a big story behind this one. In 2006, they lost Pokemon to Pokemon USA, what was called Pokemon USA Incorporated. It's now called the Pokemon Company International. Oh yeah, another rumor that actually was on the newer file, which I don't know what happened to it, that the reason that the voice cast was changed, you might have remembered the voice cast changing in the Battle Frontier season was because of financial reasonings and because the 4Kids cast was asking for too much money. Mike Pollock personally replied to one of my tweets talking about this. That's wrong. Apparently, there was a 2-year non-compete licensing agreement. That's why the voice acting changed. You might notice later on, I think Gary and Giovanni's voice came back. That was all because the contract had expired and their new voice actor had moved out of New York. Alright, so anyway, back to what caused their bankruptcy. So when they lost Pokemon, 4Kids started slowly losing their profits, but they were only kind of chipping away at it at the beginning. And then enter Chaotic. They licensed, this started as a Danish card game, and they bought the whole license, lock, stock, and barrel from Denmark, and they basically created the entire cartoon from scratch, the entire online and the entire physical card game, all from scratch, putting so much money into this. And it seemed to be benefiting them at first, because even though they were still losing money, the gap was shortening and shortening every single quarter, and just when we thought it was going to going to save them, boom, the economic recession of 2008 and 2009, this really destroyed any chance this had of happening. The source for this one was what used to be the Toon Zone forums, now an anime superhero. Discussion number 5. I think it was called discussion. 4Kids discussion D5 on the Saturday Morning Forever section of anime superhero details this. And now here's another rumor that I have no idea where this came from. Some people say that the reason Chaotic was actually canceled is because 4Kids tried to sue the creators over profit. I literally have no clue where this came from. I only found out about it a couple of years ago, and once again, it was a recession. And also, they already had full rights to it, which is why they got in the first place to try to not repeat what happened with Pokemon. So this rumor is already completely false. Alright. Now, in the 2010s, to try to recover, they had rebranded their new block on the CW4Kids to Toonside. And they had acquired the edited dub of Dragon Ball Z Kai from Nicktoons. Now, here's another rumor. The rumor is that 4Kids is the one who ordered the Blue Popo edit. That's not true either. The CW ordered that edit because the dub was already being done with Funimation, and even with Stargate Infinity and the Crank Twins, they couldn't edit those either. 4Kids is not allowed to edit somebody else's show. Only the network can make the original distributors or whoever was in charge of it edit it for the sake of the network. So the CW made Funimation turn Mr. Popo blue and everything else in Dragon Ball Z Kai. Alright, so anyway, 4Kids' gaps were once again closing with a lot of shows on the horizon. Some Jules Verne show from Rainbow, the guys who did Winx Club, and also Hunted, which I did skip over earlier. The second season of Magi-Nation, which had aired on Disc TV and Netflix. And they were even going to be airing the broadcast premieres of Monsuno, which was on Nicktoons, and Blue Dragon on Cartoon Network, but they stopped briefly. I don't know if anyone else remembers that show. And A&E Home Video was originally going to be distributing Yu-Gi-Oh! Their new distributor, and they were originally planning to release the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie Bonds Beyond Time that came out in 2012. But then came the final blow to 4Kids was they were sued by Nihon Ad Systems and the animation company behind Yu-Gi-Oh! And TV Tokyo, the Japanese network behind Yu-Gi-Oh! Over allegedly hiding money from them. However, they were still able to air Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal and something called Tai Chi Chasers. Reason being is because the courts ordered 4Kids to continue with Yu-Gi-Oh! As done. Stopping would be an admission of guilt. So, yeah. But eventually, we found out that however, Beijing and Nihon Axis and the TV Tokyo essentially handed the winner of the case over to 4Kids by producing a Zexal dub with Vic Mignogna voicing Shark and Johnny Bosch voicing Yuma behind their backs. A couple clips of it have surfaced on YouTube, but because they produced this dub without ever being told, they practically handed the license to 4Kids. So, despite 4Kids winning the case, their relationship with Funimation and Cookie Jar and Rainbow and everybody else was still damaged, so they did the only thing they could do. Auction their remaining assets off. And Saban Brands ended up buying the CW4Kids block, and which was renamed into the Vortex. Konami ended up buying the rights, not only the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh!, but also their recording studio. They later became known as 4K Media Inc., and then now they're known as Konami Cross Media in New York. And 4Kids themselves rebranded to 4 Licensing Corporation, basically becoming what they used to be in the first place, a company that doesn't work with television. Now, however, I did there's 2 other rumors that, how are we on time?
Let's see,
11:02. We're still really good on time, so it's time for me to talk about 2 other rumors that I didn't actually get to discuss early on. One, that the voice actors worked for 4Kids. That's not true. They were all freelance. They did a lot of stuff in the New York area. You might have heard some of them in the Slayers dub. Slayers was dubbed at NYAV Post. Okay, you know what? I'll take 2 questions right now because I see somebody over there back in the back waving their hand. Oh, you're leading inputs. Oh, that's why. Okay, never mind. Okay, so anyway. Alright, so that is another rumor. And other rumor is that the reason 4Kids edits English text out of shows is because Alcon thinks kids are illiterate. Let's ignore the fact for a moment that he was just simply talking about, when he said kids don't, not can't, don't, he was just talking about how he thinks that they were reading a lot less, but also, apparently that's actually, according to one of their Ask Me Anything things on Reddit, they apparently erased that text for international distribution. They don't only own the American rights of those shows, the other languages will dub from their versions. They did that so they could write whatever they want on those signs, and in Sonic X case, some of the uncut versions of Sonic X that were on Hulu, you might notice, the text is still gone. TMS erased the text already for the master. One other thing I also forgot to mention. Before they went under, and when they rebranded to Toonzai, they started actually releasing subbed episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and Sonic X, and it was when they tried doing it with the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters that the Shinsuke Kazama information got out. Thankfully, 4K Media picked it back up and was able to get all of the previous series and all of 5Ds done, and 4Kids themselves actually completed all of Sonic X, and it's still on Hulu. But anyway, even with all this information and all this extra stuff added, we are still good on time. So, anybody got any? There was some other things I was going to say, but I can't. I'm getting cold feet now. But anybody got any questions?
anyone in the audience?
Anyone in the audience got any questions? Well, you, Scouts.
Heavy. Anyway, it's not a question, more of a comment. But when you said about Ryan Drummond, he also did comment on, he got the chance to audition for the Sonic X role. However, there were 2 issues. One, it was a union thing, and also he had to physically move to New York. He lived in California at the time.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, when Sonic X was being cast, Ryan Drummond was planning to audition for the role of Sonic, and yeah, because of union and because he would have to, remote dubbing wasn't really a thing back then. Yeah, he would have had to relocate. Although he was willing to, 4Kids ended up going with Jason Griffiths anyway. That might have just been a union issue and also a money issue probably too. Yeah. Because I bet Jason Griffiths probably would have done it for cheaper. Ryan Drummond having recognition at this point. All right, so let's see. Any more questions or comments? Let's see. There was other things I was going to say. I'm sorry about the PowerPoint about that middle part before One Piece. I don't know what happened. I edited the file. I edited the file before it came here. So yeah.
Actually, not. I have a question.
James, yes, James.
So, did a woman dub Luffy in the Japanese version of One Piece?
Yes, Mayumi Tanaka is the Japanese voice of Luffy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so it probably is what kickstarted Toei's "A Woman Must Dub Luffy at All Times." Yeah, matter of fact, when Funimation took back over, they actually were going to cast Vic Mignogna as Luffy at first, but I guess that's when Toei was firmly saying a woman must voice Luffy. So it ended up being Colin Clinton here in Funimation now. But yeah, yes, you again, Scout.
It's the heavy.
Sorry, heavy. I'm sorry. I've
It's
been
okay.
before for a while.
Did they give a reason for why they had that rule? Is it like in response to Goku being cast as a man or something like that?
Actually, that I'm not really sure about, but it just appears in a lot of files from 4Kids and Funimation, and a lot of people who've spoken up about it. I think the first one who spoke about it was actually Mono, one of Funimation's translators. I guess you and the Redfish Hat,
Do you remember, it was like the mid-2000s where they had an installment of 4Kids characters singing the national anthem?
Yes, I do remember the national anthem, and this is something I've wanted to comment on for a long time.
Oh God.
By the time 4Kids sang the national anthem, I sort of built up a callus to it. Because, it's not the first time that we've seen a Japanese and American culture clash on the kids show. Does this ring a bell to anybody? But Bray, what up, Pokemon? Quiet, Pinky. First we'll catch them all, and then we'll rule the world. And don't forget that other promo with, S.R. Boone from Kirby talking to Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. Yes, a Japanese cartoon snail speaking to an American actor, a live-action existing actor, and he was only surprised that Fox played shows at night, and he's aware of Fox's existence. Was all that, honestly, the national anthem kind of just rolled off my back. Yes, you in the blue.
I'm gonna be that guy. Can we see that? Do you have internet connection?
I'm not a very good one, but like I said, if this is a promo, I'm gonna break the rule just for this. I'm not gonna show any clips from the TV shows, but if I can find the S. Boone Frankie Muniz clip, I will do it. And if not, the national anthem. Okay.
Oh, if they want to see it, like the whole video. I think that would be meant.
Yeah, let me see if I can access the internet, which I probably can't. Actually from the angle I'm at right now, I'm not sure if I'll even be able to connect to the Wi-Fi. But, I can only play it on my phone, but You're right, we don't need to see it again. You're right.
Yeah, everyone has to watch
I'll
that.
post the link to that and several other promos in the event page on Facebook, though.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, okay, so you the King
I think it's on TikTok. It's really viral now. I had to react to it.
Okay, I'm sorry, King Cat,
What was the whole point of the Sonic status?
Oh, the Sonic staff,
Okay, that's not 4Kids. Geek is the one who produced Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but I'll answer the question anyway just because. In the 1992, the Children's Television Act was enforced, and every network had to air 2 hours of EI programming, which is actually probably why Fox forced 4Kids to air shows like Stargate Infinity and Back to the Future, because this was just so more stations could air it, and the EI burden would be left less to the network. So anyway, shows like Adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog and the whole it's half the battle trope, and the Sailor Moon says happened so that more stations would be willing to pick up the show because it would count as educational and informational. That's what the EI logo you see in the corner of the screen means too. You with the black, huh?
So, as far as I remember, the One Piece airing for 4Kids finishes off with a ship crashing on top of the Straw Hats, and then it cuts to credits, and they never air a new episode after that. Is that part of the whole licensing thing they were doing with Toei?
Yeah, well, actually, that's actually a really funny way to think about it. Yeah, it did end with the Rainbow Mist arc, which was a pointless filler arc anyway. And although I think that might have had more to do with the American TV industry and how seasons go, they were just producing a certain amount of episodes, and that's just where they ended up at. It might have just been pure coincidence. That's what I think. You know, American TV works differently from Japanese TV. With the way seasons go, especially for a show like One Piece that airs new episodes year-round in Japan.
Any questions around here?
Okay. Anyway, let's see. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, you lead it in first. What did you come in? What part did you come in at? Hold on, I didn't hear that. Signaling the. Oh, food for promise. Okay, so yeah, okay. Anyway, let's just give the quick abridged version of this. Yeah. Okay, 4Kids started as a company. Four licensing corporations. Alcon, Nora, J. Grossfield joined. They become 4Kids Entertainment. They make WABC Master. License Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Become Filthy Rich. Take over Fox Kids. License a bunch of other shows. Toei makes them dub One Piece. Because just to get it on TV as quickly as possible. 4Kids purposely makes mess out of One Piece. 4Kids loses Pokemon to the Pokemon Company International. 4Kids starts losing money. 4Kids buys full rights to Chaotic. They make a bunch of merchandise of it. It starts selling well. Profit margins look like they're going to raise. Economic recession, and then economic recession, it blows up in their face, and they lose a lot of profits from that. They create Toonside. They start dealing with anime again and other similar licensed shows on their block. Then they get sued, and then all their deals fall apart. Oh yeah, Toonsaki. That was the other thing I was mentioning about. In addition to producing subbed episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and Sonic X, they had created a website called Toonzaki. Most of it was just embeds from Hulu and Funimation, back when you could do that in the early 2010s before streaming ended up becoming capitalist related. And some people even said that it loaded better. And as I said, of course, they put their own sub-episodes of 5Ds and Sonic X there, as well as their dubbed episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Classic and GX. Apparently, the reason they never actually got around to subbing GX is because Yugi speaks in the first episode, and that was part of Shinsuke Kansama's contract. So they were just deciding whether to skip the first episode or to mute it, but they didn't want to just start dubbing episode 2 without any announcement. But before they could make a decision, the suing happened. You're welcome. All right, what time is it?
11:14. We got plenty of time.
11:14,
Next 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, so, okay, well, let's see, if nobody else has any other questions or comments, then I guess it's time to disperse. Sorry it ended up being so short. Like I said, I had a longer PDF file. I don't know what happened to it, but I'm definitely going to try again next time. Maybe I will try again at Anime USA in Crystal City. Again, I'm really sorry it was so short. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks. I'll be posting some stuff to the Facebook event page eventually, sooner or later. And thank you, James and Alex, for co-hosting it with me. And thanks for taking
Thanks for coming.
Thank y'all for coming. Thanks for everything. You have a question?
Hold on.
One more question. What?
How do you access the Facebook event page for this?
Search Otakon 2022, the unbiased history of 4Kids Entertainment, rumors debunked. I'll post another link to it on the Otakon Facebook group, the one that's just Otakon in big letters.
Okay.
Great. Cool. These. That just wraps up.
Yeah, like I said. said, I was intending for it to be longer, but again, I don't know what happened.
I think we're good.
Alright, well,
That's all. We want to play that national anthem, Claire. That man.
I don't know. Again, I don't know how to get to the internet from here. I mean, I wouldn't be able to be up on the screen. I'd have to outside and back over here.
Stop recording.
And it's